Good afternoon, everyone. This is a webinar of traceability. Why and how does it change the diamond industry? Arranged by Sarine Technologies and Watch and Jewelry. I already guided it. You can choose English or Japanese language. So anyway, thank you for your coming today, and I am very glad to see you all. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Yutaka Fukasawa, the chief editor of Japan Precious Magazine and your moderator today. I have expertise of Japanese jewelry market research and consulting for more than 30 years. And now I started YouTube channel Jewelry News Japan TV. Anyway, I'm looking forward to today's discussion. So this is 2 years. COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian invasion to Ukraine has impacted world jewelry industry and also our Japanese jewelry market, day-to-day businesses. I had a panel discussion about the SDGs at a Japanese jewelry trade fair last month. At that time, I heard from a retailer that a consumer had already been asked if this diamond was from Russia or not. Indeed, failure to offer proof your products or sourced responsibility will cause both your wholesaler and retail clients to have second thoughts about sourcing from your firm. Some jewelers have agreed to stop using diamond that comes from Russia. This comes following years of increased pressure to track diamonds along the supply chain and for retailers to inform consumers of a diamond's origin. Anyway, today we have gathered from various positions in distribution. So I am looking forward to hear your opinions. In the beginning, let me introduce today's panelists. The first, Mr. David, would you say hello to the audience?
Hello, everyone. Very nice to be here. Thank you for joining.
Next, Mr. Philip. Next, Miss Florence, famous luxury brand Maison. Please say hello to the audience.
Hello, everyone. I'm Florence Inoumarou from Boucheron. Very a pleasure to be here.
Okay. And last, Mr. Hara, Tokyo Power.
Hi, this is Hiroshi. So let's enjoy this panel discussion today.
Thank you for all. Okay, let's start from first questions. Miss Florence, are you seeing increased demand for diamond traceability reports from consumers? What about Japanese consumers? Maybe you are in Paris, so I'm not sure you can answer or not, but what feedbacks have been received from them?
So we've launched our traceability certificate, our Boucheron certificate, powered by Sarine at the beginning of the year, end of January. And since then, we've been receiving great feedback from clients, and they find it very innovative, interactive, and the feedback is good. But what you need to understand is that people do not come to our boutiques for traceability certificate. They come to celebrate a moment, an important moment in their life, or a self-achievement. And we actually have very little requests from clients on traceability, on sustainability, and few questions. And I often have sales associates, especially in Japan, who ask me, clients, they come to our boutique asking about the GIA or about diamond quality because they've been taught to ask those questions. But how do we engage with them on sustainability if they don't ask the question? And it's not because they don't care, because all the study says that 3/4 of consumers, they care about sustainability. They find it important or very important. We know that 2/3 are actively changing their consumer behavior. So they're actually proactively changing how they purchase, how they consume for sustainability reason. And we even know that they are willing to pay more. And we even have study on jewelry purchaser, on high net worth individual, saying that they about 20% are willing to pay up to 15% more for sustainable jewelry. So we know that they care, but we don't have much question. And I've been, brainstorming and discussing this with the team for a year now. And I think the reason is, first, they expect our brands, especially Boucheron as a French high jewelry brand from Place Vendôme, they expect us to do our business correctly. But on top of that, there is not enough awareness yet on specifically on jewelry, specifically on diamond, on gold, about what question to ask on traceability. And I think this is our responsibility, our job, to tell the story to our clients and to show them how they can change and have an impact and change their behavior to have an impact. And one example I have is that in Europe, for example, we've been brainwashed for generation now. I remember when I was 10 years old already, I was taught about recycling, about packaging, about plastic. So it's something that takes time. And now when we go to a supermarket in Europe, people will choose a product that have less packaging, that have a paper packaging instead of plastic packaging. It's really embedded in how we act. In Japan, it's the same, maybe less on packaging because you still have a lot of plastic. But for example, in a restaurant or in a supermarket, you will look for kokusan. You will look for, something that is made in Japan. You will, a lot of consumer will choose product where you can see the face of the producer, or you can know that it's organic. It's something that, you know how to behave. I think in a jewelry store, the consumer, they have some notion of, diamonds and the risk associated to it through the movie Blood Diamond, for example, but they don't have exactly the right question or how to engage. And I think that this is really our responsibility. And the last thing is that the traceability report had amazing feedback, but it's not, clients are not the only driver for traceability. And I think that's important to note here at the beginning is it's not only about clients. We have a lot of push from the press, from media, who are really doing their job in putting the subject at the forefront, from NGO, who really appreciate our move toward traceability. And I think the most important driver for traceability and for this certificate was our employee. Today, our employees are the one who gave us the most intense, let's say, feedback. And I think today in our world, you cannot have a positive and engaged company if you don't have, you're not doing the right thing. And that's why I would say, yes, very good feedback from clients, limited question for the moment. And the best feedback we got was for internally from our employee.
Thank you for example, Miss Florence. Okay, it's a very nice answer. So next questions. Philip there. Hello.
Hello.
Hello
to everyone. Apologies for the technical mix-up.
Okay. So next question. Do you think the end consumers are concerned about diamond traceability and how diamonds were manufactured? Why? So Mr. Philip, and also some Japanese audience don't know about Bonas Group. So please explain shortly your services and businesses, and please answer this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I represent Bonas, which is a service provider in the diamond industry that has been around for nearly 150 years. We have been focused on sourcing rough diamonds for people in the diamond pipeline. In the past, that was mainly linked to sourcing rough diamonds at De Beers. But since the mining landscape has changed a lot in the last 20 years, we provide services of direct sourcing from different diamond mines across the world. At the moment, we source from 8 different diamond mines on 6 different continents. And what we do is provide a service to the mining companies that allows them to really focus on what they are good at, i.e. mining diamonds, and we will take care of the process afterwards. So we will do the sales and marketing and the distribution of the diamonds. We provide valuation services, And what is interesting, of course, is that the diamonds we sell come to us directly from the mine. So it's an extremely direct pipeline.
Okay, thank you very much. So how about Mr. David? This question?
I think actually Florence answered it very, very well. It's a process. The change at the consumer level is definitely a process. 20 years ago, no one talked about the environment or how products impacted the consumer. Today, that's very much the conversation. Yet, still, it will take time for the consumers to start integrating this more into their conversations at the retail level. No doubt, the surveys show that the consumer is interested and does care about sustainability. So I think it's a process. It will take time. It's different in different locations around the world. So it may be different in Japan than it may be in Europe and the US. But we see this as a global trend, and not only in the diamond industry, definitely at the higher end consumers in the luxury segments, but all the way down to the average mainstream consumer as well. We see this trend increasing over time, naturally, very significantly in the media and within the industry, but that is trickling down to the consumer. And over time, I believe that will become a much more important factor in terms of purchasing decisions. We already see that it ranks quite high in the consumer's purchasing decisions in terms of the parameters that he determines how to buy a product such as diamond jewelry.
Okay. I want to detail more. Why do you think transparency becomes so important? Could you please share with our Japanese audience what you are seeing that happening in your region or country? Please tell me a little more detail, Mr. David.
So there's a trend globally of understanding where products come from, and understanding more about the product that you're buying, where it comes from, how it is manufactured, under what conditions it's manufactured, how that impacts the communities as part of that pipeline, how it impacts the environment. So that desire to understand more about the product and the process of getting it to the consumer is becoming more interesting to the consumer, and therefore transparency in that process is becoming more important. So we see with many different products that there is a high level of transparency in the pipeline or the manufacturing process of a certain product. In diamonds, of course, due to the history of diamonds and blood diamonds, there's a lot more of an awareness over there. And when we talk about the transparency, we talk about the transparency throughout the pipeline. It is not just the country of origin or the mine of origin, but also how that diamond was manufactured, under what conditions, how that contributed to the local communities and so forth. So when we talk about transparency, it's transparency from the mine all the way down to the consumer.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Philip, is same opinion or what you thought about more?
Yes, I agree with David. I think it's a trend that we see globally and in many different industries, not just in our industry. It is indeed something that has become much more apparent in the last few years. I think it's got to do partly with education. I think a consumer today is much more educated and informed, and that is partly thanks to the fact that news travels much faster today. There is social media. A consumer today has many more tools to, with the click of a mouse, to do his own research. And I think a consumer today is much more informed than, say, 10 or 20 years ago. Another reason why transparency is becoming more important is, I think, as a result of conflicts, different kind of conflicts in different parts of the world. And I think every individual will then make a funded decision for himself how he wants to be in that market as a consumer. And I completely agree with what David said. I think we've only seen that desire from the consumer's perspective increase in the last few years. And that trend will not stop and will not be reversed anymore. I think it is here to stay.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you. Okay, so next question. So what is the significance when diamond journey reports include the information from the mine? So Mr. Hara, is there?
Yeah. Okay, I think the bottom line is to provide the customer with comfort when they buy diamond. Under the circumstances where the world society, as everyone said, require the sustainable solution for any commodity supply, such supply chain information can give comfort to the consumer in order for them to know where from where it's come from, and how the diamond in front of them they come from. So by doing this, finally they can enjoy it, the diamond. They can love their diamond themselves. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Hara. So how about your opinion, Mrs. Florence? What is the significance when diamond journey report includes the information from the mine?
Traceability is not a goal in itself. I mean, we're not working for traceability. It's truly an enabler, because what we are aiming at is having the visibility in every entity, every actor within our value chain. And when we look, for example, on our environmental impact, we calculate through a tool that is called the EPNL, the Environmental Profit and Loss tool. We calculate every year our impact on the environment, on water, land use, air pollution, carbon emission. And when you look at all of that for Boucheron for 1 year, 86% is outside of our boundaries. It's in the value chain, and half of that is at the mine level. So for even if you only look at environmental aspects, already there's a huge impact at the mining, at the diamond extraction or gold extraction level. And if you look at the social aspect, there's also a huge risk associated to the mine level. So it's very important to have the mine, but we want to have every step. We really want to understand every step. And a second thing on the mine is we have a responsibility to support and encourage our mining partners to do better and to reduce their impact. And they've been doing a great job. For example, De Beers, they have pledged to reduce their water use by 50% and to become carbon neutral by 2030, which is a great ambition that we want to support and that we want to convey also to our clients, because they are at the mine level, but we are the key bridge between consumer, and we are going to be the ones marketing the diamonds in the end. So it's our job as brands to be the bridge between the efforts that is done also through the pipeline to the consumer. And so that's why mining it's very important for us, but every step is actually very important.
Thank you. So Mr. Philip, you are already buying from some major mines. So you may already get from those mines a lot of information. So what kinds of mining information could add value to during retail selling in the shops?
Look, I think that the report, the journey report, can contribute to that. We're all in an industry that extracts natural resources from the earth, whether it's diamonds or gold or other precious metals or precious stones, and that by definition involves mining. And we have to acknowledge that mining in the world today in general is not a very popular topic. And I think a lot of mining companies are starting to understand that. And as Florence just gave a few examples, several miners are really trying to change that perception by changing their methods of extraction and their processes and the way they work. I believe that a journey report can contribute to that, because there's a lot of good that is being done in the mining sector, and it is a sector that employs a lot of people, that has enriched certain regions and countries in this world. For instance, all the mines that we work with, we have one-page summary of the things that they do locally in terms of CSR, hospitals, education, and that is very important. Diamond Journey report can contribute to that.
Thank you. I understand well. Ms. Florence, if you give information about a particular mine's information to consumers, instead, the consumer asks the specific questions about the detailed information of that mine. The sales staff can answer the mine's information.
This is very complex questions, because of course our diamond will not come from one mine. So there's a lot of training that is necessary for our sales staff, and they're not only selling diamonds, they're also selling colored gemstones and different designs and different collections. So we have a huge challenge in terms of training. However, we are able to tell beautiful stories about where our diamonds come from in the Solitaire Étoile de Paris, which is the new fully traceable solitaire we launched in January with the Sarine traceability solution. The diamonds come from Namibia, from the Orange River, and we have an amazing story to tell about how the rough diamond have been traveling across the river for millions of years before, ending up in the sea, and how the marine recovery operations in Namibia are working to really mitigate their impact on the environment, and how we can ensure that biodiversity comes back a few years after the diamond recovery. So those stories, we try to tell them to our shop staff through conferences, webinar. We do a lot of awareness. However, of course, they won't be able to know the technicality of each in every single mine. This is really the job of our sustainability team at Boucheron, and we ensure that we are available if there is any question to go into more detail. But of course, for at the shop level, it will be more about stories, generally about countries, than really at the mine level.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask a little more. How can verifiable data in the diamond journey help to create trust among consumers? It's already you answered, or if you additional add some more information.
Data is. It was for me or was for someone else?
How can verifiable data in the diamond journey help to create that among consumers? If you add some information, Ms. Florence.
Data is key. And at Boucheron, we've been working on traceability since 2016. And we have piloted many traceability solutions, all very interesting, with their pros and cons. And so we've seen, the advantage of each solution. And often the bottleneck was the reliability of the data, because complex supply chain, how do you ensure that the data you get are correct and there's no, mistake in it? And also the comprehensiveness of the data, because a lot of solutions, they can only give you the country of origin, but then you don't know anything about what happens in between. And for us, that was not possible. So for me, reliability and comprehensiveness of the data can really create trust, first to our teams, because what we really see is that if our teams are not convinced, and if our teams do not trust the solution, then you cannot convince the consumer. While if your shop staff are convinced about the solution, there's no issue. They will, with their whole heart, be able to tell the story. And I think that's what we've been able to do with the Sarine traceability solution. People didn't know the traceability. They were really skeptical about changing from the GIA to a Boucheron certificate. We did a lot of training, and we really managed to convince our teams on the reliability of the data.
Okay, thank you very much for detailed explanation. Okay, next question. We Japanese jewelers also become much more interested in SDGs. Why traceability is an essential part of sustainability? Mr. Hara?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's very simple. Without traceability information, nobody can endorse the sustainability, because only by knowing the traceability information allow us to confirm the sustainable process step by step, in our supply chain.
Mr. David?
Yeah, maybe just to add, Florence said in the beginning, traceability is not a goal. It's the way to achieve a goal. And when we want to talk about sustainability of the diamonds or the diamond jewelry, the traceability is the link that enables us to connect between the actions taken along the pipeline, the good that is being done along the pipeline to the specific diamond. So the traceability is what enables us to do that specifically for each and every diamond, not as a general concept, but to be able to say, this diamond came from Namibia. This is how the mining process is creating a positive impact to the communities, to the environment, and trying to reduce as much as possible the negative impact. So the traceability is actually the tool that enables to do so in a very reliable way that is based on data and not based on declarations, which is basically how it was done for many, many years.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next, diamond traceability equal diamond is conflict-free and ethically sourced. Is a product sustainable processed? Mr. Philip?
Yes, thank you. Look, I believe, first of all, this traceability is a process. It's I think Florence will agree with me that today there are a few consumers that walk into a store and have lots of questions about it. At the moment, the consumer that goes to a retailer relies on the integrity of the retailer and trusts the integrity of the retailer. An example is, for instance, the current situation between Russia and Ukraine. The reality is that when retailers start explaining about Russian diamonds, most consumers are very surprised, because most people in the world believe that diamonds come from South Africa, and most of them don't even know that Russia is a diamond producer. So what we're discussing here today is extremely important, but it's also a process. And I talked earlier about education and how the consumer today is much more educated. We have to assume that that will not stop. That process will continue. And that's why the work we're now doing on traceability is so important. And specifically for this question, you need to rely on the integrity of each and every person in that diamond pipeline. And we see that with many manufacturers of diamonds in the world today, it is possible to follow a diamond through the manufacturing process. And of course, there are tools to help him do so. And Sarine has really excelled in that field. But we have seen in the past other initiatives, like, for instance, the Basis Forever mark, which required manufacturers to keep certain flows of goods separate in their manufacturing process. And I must say that a lot of manufacturers in the world today have that capability. The ones that haven't got that yet are in the process of making sure that they will be ready with that in the next few years.
So I'd like to more questions. Present situation, Angolan and Russian diamonds with the same grading are basically at the same price in Japan. So will the price become different eventually because they come from different origins, like gemstone Mogok Ruby and Kashmir Sapphire near future? With the diamond traceability information, would this create a price premium for diamonds coming from certain mines? Mr. Philip?
I don't think that's the case yet, to be honest. And I believe that a lot will depend on the brand and the retailer itself, whether you can translate that into a premium situation. We'll have to monitor that process, but I don't think that it's the case yet. But maybe Florence is a better position to answer that.
Oh, Miss Florence.
At the client's consumer side, I agree that for the moment we don't see any difference. I think Angola and Russia are maybe not the best example because the Katoka mine in Angola is actually owned by partly by Alrosa, the Russian miner. So we are also trying to segregate our goods from and try to avoid goods from Angola too. But I have heard that within the industry there is starting to have some gaps between diamonds of Russian origin and the rest at the upstream. So we'll see how this will evolve.
Okay. How about Mr. Hara?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, as soon as I heard this question, I imagine about the Argyle pink diamond, because among the all pink diamonds, they came from all over the world. Argyle pink diamonds have been dealt with a price premium. This everyone we should know. So probably, of course, pink diamond is something very, very special. But after all, everything can be a story. So if we could create the nice story, I think it's highly possible in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Hara. Okay. So I'd like to know about the system, Mr. David. What is the advantage of your system? How many miners and manufacturers have already joined Sarine's Diamond Journey system?
So there are already today a growing number of mines who are part of the Sarine Diamond Journey ecosystem, and a large number of manufacturers. The number of both the miners, the manufacturers, as well as the retailers are growing all the time. The objective in the end is to create an end-to-end ecosystem that enables to track diamonds coming from any mine, going through any manufacturer and down to the retailer. As I said in the beginning, this is a process. Traceability is becoming more important and is growing within the industry. So I think we can expect to continue to see this trend. Just recently, we partnered with Bonas, who, as Philip mentioned, represents 8 diamond mines globally. So that has expanded the access to additional sources of rough that can go through traceability, if desired so by the retailers. So we will be continuing working with all different miners, whoever is desiring to be part of a traceability ecosystem. And I believe that community will continue to grow. We've seen in the last 2 months or 3 months since the beginning of the conflict in Ukraine that the demand for such solutions has grown dramatically because of the fact that people would like to segregate their goods from the different sources. And I believe that that trend will continue regardless of how the conflict with regards to Ukraine and Russia plays out. The requirement or the demand for origin and for traceability existed before the conflict, and therefore I believe that although it may have accelerated it, it is not the primary reason for the demand for traceability.
So I already heard your system use robotics and AI technologies. What role do ultra-modern system, those technologies play in your system?
Yes. So it's important to understand Sarine is a technology company, but on the other hand, today we deal with huge amounts of data. Just to give our listeners an idea, about 100 million diamonds pass through Sarine's technologies every year. That's a very large amount of diamonds with a lot of data. And in order to be able to utilize that data for purposes such as traceability, we need to be able to analyze that data. So in the past few years, we've been working a lot with artificial intelligence and machine learning, and that has become an integral part of many of our different technologies. You also mentioned robotics, which is actually very interesting because up until a year or two ago, we had not dealt too much with robotics, but because of the need to process very large numbers of diamonds at the producer, at the mine, we're actually in the final stages of the robotic system to automatically process and register the rough diamonds at the mine, large quantities, high speed, so that we can get millions of diamonds that start at the mine going through the traceability process. So we'll be introducing a robotic system, an automatic robotic system in the next near future that will be able to be used by the mines as well as our partners that deal with rough, such as Bonas and others.
How does Sarine strike a balance between various stakeholders?
Actually, I think the interesting thing is we don't need to strike a balance. We're more like the glue that connects up all the different stakeholders within the industry. We are a neutral technology provider. So we can work with competing players in a certain segment, whether it's different miners, whether it's manufacturers that compete with each other, or whether it's retailers that compete with each other. They are all clients of ours without any conflicting interests. Naturally, the confidentiality of the data of each client is critical for us and for our clients. So I don't think there is any conflict of interest, and therefore we're able to provide the technology and our services to all the different segments of the industry and actually connect up between those different segments between one another.
According to our research, there are about 10,000 and more small and independent retailers in Japan. Is this a project or a system that only big players can participate in, or can small-sized companies participate and benefit from it?
Yes, definitely. The solution in the end is relevant for any retailer, whether it is larger or smaller, a high-end mason or a mainstream diamond retailer. Why? Because once we are working with the different players in the mining segment, the producers, as well as the manufacturers, it is creating a pool of diamonds that are able to be provided for traceability. So in the end, we can work with larger players or smaller players. It does not preclude the smaller players from being able to use traceability. I think that is very, very important, that it's not just something that is possible for larger or leading retailers. It needs to be accessible by every single retailer. Otherwise, this will create an unfair advantage or playing field for the smaller retailers that are a very, very important and significant part of the industry.
Okay. So, Mr. Philip, how can we trust the data provided by the system? How can we verify that? How can solution provider and users ensure that only true or correct data are fed into the digital supply chain?
Well, first of all, as I mentioned in the beginning, our company has been around for 150 years, and we're all extremely proud of the reputation that we have built. And that means that we also have something to defend. A lot of the mining companies that we represent are publicly listed companies who will do annual audits on our systems and methodologies. So that is a standard practice. The other thing, of course, is that the mines that we represent and for whom we sell product, we do that on an exclusive basis. So every stone that is being produced in those mines comes to us and is going to be treated through its own value chain with very much a separate chain of activities within our pipeline. So it is easily traced back to original KP certificates and accompanying invoices when we start uploading the diamonds onto the Sarine platform and scan them. So that process is direct. Every sale, tender or auction that we conduct is being monitored by a bailiff who is an independent person appointed by a court of law. He would be there to certify the validity of the tender process and certify the end result of a sale. I believe that we from our side are approaching this in a very professional way. There is only one way to approach this, and that is transparently and legally robust. We believe in that very much, and I'm convinced that if every person, every company in the pipeline adheres by the same rules of engagement, there is no problem in making sure that the integrity of the pipeline is reassured.
Thank you, Mr. Philip. So
maybe I'll add to what Philip said. The first layer is, of course, the entities within the pipeline and the trust that each entity brings to the table. The second layer is what you asked about, is the trust in the data. And in the end, the data provides an additional very powerful layer of trust because it is not possible to influence it. It is not possible to change it. So the data comes directly from the technologies without any ability to intervene or manipulate or to make mistakes. So when you add together the entities' processes, the entities' level of trust that they've created within their organizations, together with data that is trustworthy because it comes from technology, you have a very, very powerful ability to provide the trust to the consumer.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hara, do you
Yes.
have any additional?
Yeah, I can endorse what the David said. That it's the it's ensured by the step-by-step the verification. When we as the role of the diamond manufacturer polishing factory in our Bangkok factory, each step is the we receive the verification from the Sarine system. Like when we receive the stone from miner, we scan it and we check with the planning and that. Like each step, we have the verification by the system, by technology, and we upload it to the cloud system of Sarine. Then our role is from the receiving rack to the polish. Then supply to the retailers or jewelry manufacturer. But it's there is a link between this information from miner to the our buyer. So actually the rough is just origin information. And in the retail store, they have the polished diamond as result in front of the consumer. But such traceability system or diamond journey system to bridge, like origin and the result. So each step, everyone has role, like as miner, as the diamond manufacturer, like us, and also retailer as the Boucheron. So everyone, all roles is connected, by the Sarine system based on the verification. Is that correct, David?
Yes, correct, exactly.
Thank you. So in the future, will traceability reports serve as sufficient documentation for diamonds? Does that mean we don't need a grading report, Miss Florence?
Today, for our traceability certificate that we launched in January, it actually includes both the traceability and the grading. So we have the traceability data, or part of the traceability data that we provide to clients through our Boucheron certificate, but it also includes the AI grading reports from Sarine. So it's a very comprehensive document, and today we do not complete it with any other certificate.
Okay, thank you very much. So do you see traceability as a threat or an opportunity? Do you see manufacturing record as something we need to keep as secret? Mr. Philip?
I definitely believe it is. It's an opportunity. Diamonds in particular have very little to no practical use. We are really selling an emotional product, and I believe that diamonds and jewelry in general are often there to mark important occasions in someone's life. And the traceability for me is a way to enhance that storytelling. So for me, it is very much an opportunity. It is not a threat at all.
Okay. Mr. Hara?
Yes, it's obviously it's opportunity because actually, demand for the traceability disclosure is not new in Japanese market. The many retailers, since I started to work in this industry for 30 years, everyone wanted like a certificate of origin or like the origin program. So, but at that time, today, such demand came from retailer. For the competition to let's say differentiate the product from others. But today, the demand for the traceability disclosure came from the world society. So it means, before it was like the product-oriented approach, but this time it's the market-oriented approach. So obviously, demand is there in front of us. So I think, such working with traceability will be a good opportunity for our whole industry. That's what I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Hara. So if the retailer want to start the diamond journey system, there are both stock with and without diamond journey diamond traceability reports at each stores. And this make it difficult to sell goods without a traceability certificate. Ms. Florence, are there any experience that at the beginning you start the diamond journey system? You have both stock or not?
Yes, we have. And it's, of course, something that we anticipated at the very beginning of our journey. And when we started the project, there was a lot of barriers internally to change our mindset, to change the way we work. And of course, people told us, but how are we gonna do this? We cannot change everything at once. It's too big of a change. So we have to start with the collection. So we said, okay, let's start with one collection that is gonna be very easily identifiable for the shop staff so that they will be able to train on the selling ceremony. And then people say, yeah, but then how do we manage both stock? It's true. Today in our shops, we have are diamonds with the GIA certificate without a traceability certificate, and we have the Étoile de Paris Solitaire with the traceability certificate. Starting from 2023, we are going to start to have even more complexity to manage, because we're going to be rolling out the traceability certificate on all our collections. So on the same item of different size, you will have one with the GIA and one with the Boucheron certificate. It is complexity to manage. We are not very afraid of managing this complexity because when we want to do a leap forward and light the way for change, there's always going to be some mess. The only way to be always perfect is to do nothing, but then you just get stuck in the past. So we're not afraid of this change. And we also what we try to emphasize is that we're very proud of our diamond in our stores. I mean, it's not the first thing we do in terms of sustainability of our diamonds. Our diamonds have, of course, followed the Kimberley process and are compliant with the system of warranty. They have been sourced only through long-time suppliers who are certified RGC COP, so Responsible Jewelry Council Code of Practice. We've been engaging with our suppliers, both for the Center Diamond and Melee, on their practice. They've been audited. So we are already proud of our diamonds. It's just an additional service, an additional information, additional experience we're going to be offering. So we're going to be managing the transition, and we believe that by 2024, 25, our stock will be clean, and we'll have completely clean our stock in the stores.
Okay, thank you very much. So this question is also from asking by audience. So recently, a lot of lab-grown diamond brands launched in Japan. They are promoting lab-grown diamond as 100% ethical and sustainable products compared to natural diamonds. Does diamonds growing in a lab means 100% ethical and sustainable? Mr. David?
So I want to go back to the transparency we talked about earlier. And in the end, general statements about natural diamonds or lab-grown diamonds, I think, are sometimes very misleading. There are producing countries that mine natural diamonds, that go to great lengths to protect the environment, to contribute to local communities. And there are others that do more or less. So not all natural diamonds are equal. Same with lab-grown. Some lab-grown diamonds are grown using coal-based energy, and some lab-grown diamonds are grown using solar energy. We have a company like that in Israel that is growing the lab-grown with solar energy. So it's not all equal. So not all lab-grown diamonds are sustainable or ethically grown. I think it's in the end, the choice is at the consumer, as long as the information is transparent and the consumer has a choice. So I think that is where we try to emphasize what we're doing is enabling transparency, providing information, providing data, and in the end, letting the consumer decide what is good for him and what his choice is.
Thank you. Do you have any additional thought, Mr. Philip?
Well, I believe David has answered that question very well. The lab-grown diamond industry has made claims in the past that are not always sustainable, as we know. I believe that the product they bring is a legitimate product, and the lab-grown diamond market is certainly a market that can exist parallel next to the natural diamond market. So to answer the question about sustainability, well, we know that most of the lab-grown diamonds are grown in China and in India today. That's where most of the factories are. And as we all know, not everything is sustainable, what happens there. So I think that you can make claims in both directions, to be honest. But the main point is that it doesn't do away with the task that we all have in our industry, in the natural diamond industry, to make sure that the product that we bring to the market is a reputable product with a clear traceability and transparency.
How about Mr. Hara? Do you have any additional thought?
Yes, to be honest, I'm a little bit get tired of the, discussion about the lab-grown diamonds, because, it started from the negative campaign against the natural diamond. So consumers' awareness about the origin of the diamond, because under such discussion, people in the beginning try to avoid to harm somebody else, like, like because of environment problem, and also, something related to the conflict of diamond. But today, we would like to promote I think we should promote the natural diamond, buying natural diamond, to motivate the people. I would like to change the motivation. The reason why the people choose diamond, not to choose the comfortable diamond, not to harm somebody else. Instead of that, more active, way, to buy this natural diamond can contribute the people in the source. Like such a way, I want to change the motivation. And like to buying diamond, natural diamond is good things, not like negative campaign. I hope you could understand what I mean.
Yes, I understand. Miss Lawrence, maybe a luxury brand don't start lab-grown diamond, but are you in the future your competitive products?
Today, lab-grown diamonds are of course disrupting the market and raising awareness on sustainability, which is a great thing, because we need some challenge in any industry to move ahead and to move forward. At Boucheron, we don't see lab-grown diamond as the same price positioning and the same value in terms of historical value, investment value as natural diamonds. And what we really want to focus on is the positive impact that we can have throughout the supply chain. And I think Philippe mentioned the million of people that the industry supports, and the livelihood that we can better for those communities. So what we try to achieve in our industry, in the natural diamond industry, is really what positive impact can we have at the mining level, at the cutting level, in our workshop. And I think all the people lives that you're touching through the natural diamond, if you're buying a positive diamond, it's really great. And that's what we want to put the emphasis on.
Okay. So, Mr. David, can lab-grown diamond brands benefit from the diamond journey traceability solution?
So it goes maybe back to the previous question: are all lab-grown diamonds sustainable? And as I said, some are more and some are less. And I think the ability to track lab-grown diamonds from its source to the polish also has a place in order to differentiate between lab-grown diamonds that are contributing positively, for example, using 100% renewable energy, or for another example could be that are created in a certain location, made in the USA. So that could have a value to a US consumer, that he prefers a product that is manufactured locally or made in the country that it's sold. So I think there is a value to being able to track lab-grown diamonds, different in its objectives to tracking natural diamonds. But I do think there is a place and a value of being able to track lab-grown diamonds as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, final question. It's almost time to up. So what new initiatives are related to diamond traceability, transparency, and sustainability we can expect from you? So, Mr. Philippe?
Yes, thank you. You're asking me the question first because we're obviously very much first in the pipeline. Look, we have recently announced our partnership with Sarine. So what you can expect from us going forward is that in the next few weeks, we will start rolling out the traceability programs for the different mines that we represent. If I may build in a few replies to the questions that I've seen from the audience, because they somewhat relate to what I'm saying now. Someone asked me whether we see any financial gain from the traceability. The honest answer today is no. Not now, not yet. It's not because we have traceability on a certain diamond that we can sell that rough diamond for a higher price than a diamond without the traceability. That is the case today. Whether that will change in future, it's difficult to say. And I think that will be largely dictated by how the consumer evolves and whether a price premium can be sustainable at retail level. But we will have to monitor that. But the answer today is no. At the moment, there is no financial gain. The other thing is, of course, that whilst we deal with mine productions sell a very broad range of goods. There are large diamonds, but also very small diamonds in there. And the ambition, of course, is to make sure that we are transparent for the entire production of a particular mine. The reality is, and perhaps David can also say something about it, is that, of course, doing traceability is easier on larger diamonds than on smaller diamonds. We have to start somewhere. So also in our traceability approach, we will start making birth certificates for the larger diamonds. Again, we need to start somewhere. It will be rolled out to smaller size diamonds in future, probably also depending on how technology evolves and the capability of scaling up this program. But one of the reasons why we decided to partner with Sarine is because they offer us, and I believe they're the only ones to be able to do so, they offer us a scientific approach that allows us to build up scale. And those two points are important to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Hara?
Yes, as Philip said, today, if we try to start from the rough, certification, it is a size will be problem because, Japanese markets, more there are more demand for the smaller sizes, like pointers. So in case, we're talking about the Japanese market, first, maybe we start from the diamond journey, they start from rough, like our production, from the rough scanning to the polish, and, by visualize, the polishing process, and, in the retailer, they can show the real diamond as a result, and with visual, process disclosure of the polishing process, then as the story about the rough origin, also there is link, and we can make bridge and make the whole story. But technology, sooner or later, I believe it's going to be progressed. So I hope such Japanese demand for the smaller size. I would like Sarine to in one day to try to support to get the complete traceability system from the mine, really mining information.
Thank you, Miss Florence. Finally, do you want to some additional thought?
Well, I'm going to continue putting pressure on David on traceability. For Boucheron, the utmost priority will be scaling up. Today we have a collection, and we are our target is to reach 100% traceability of our key raw material by 2025, and time is flying, so we only have a few years to go. So scaling up, melee diamonds, as we said, smaller diamond and paved diamond. And I look at David and Philip because we need to make that happen with the full supply chain. And also for exceptional diamonds, you know, we have to find solution on high jewelry, and how can we diversify maybe our traceability solution on bigger diamonds so that we can continue to offer the best there is to our clients.
Thank you. So it's almost a time to up. So I want to enter the Q&A corner. So Mr. David, one question. What size of rough does this traceability of country of origin apply to, or to all sizes? How can polished stars and melee goods be traced back or other than the big sizes? Because some design collections only use melee size or pointers. So are there any size limited this system?
So actually everyone on the panel asked that question, and it's a very important question because it's, of course, the objective is that the ability to provide traceability is on all types of diamonds and not only on just on certain sizes and above. But with all technology, you need to start somewhere. Maybe connected with what Florence said, we shouldn't be afraid. We also shouldn't be afraid to take a first step, even if you don't have the second or third step already ready. So we're taking the first step, and that's how all technology starts with. It starts with a certain segment of goods. But I can tell you that if we look at other technologies in the diamond industry or other of our technologies in the industry, we see it's always started in a certain area and has expanded to all segments. Just to give an example, diamond planning, which is used in manufacturing, started 20 years ago above 2 carats. No one used to plan with our technologies diamonds below 2 carats. Today, we have clients that plan 1 point rough diamonds, which means that there are less than 1 point polished diamonds planned on our technologies. So as the technology improves, as it becomes more cost effective, the technology will enable to track smaller and smaller diamonds. Today already, we see we are tracking diamonds of 15 point polish, which is a ½ carat rough. And I believe that as we move forward with technology, it will go down. We will eventually reach the stars and the melee goods in order to provide a traceability solution for all sizes and qualities of diamonds. So yes, today it is not yet possible to do so on the very small goods, but I believe that it will be as we move forward with the development of the technology to make it more cost effective.
Okay, thank you very much. Your explanation. So it's already time, but I have one question. There are many second-hand jewelry distributions in Japan. Should the information be incorporated into the diamond journey in that case? For example, are you thinking of a buyer entering information? So how about David?
I didn't quite understand the question.
Oh, so there are many second-hand jewelry distribution in Japan. So if the consumer sell again to the pawn shop something, so are there any trace by diamond journey system?
Okay, so the traceability needs to start at the rough as early as possible in the pipeline at the mine. If a diamond is tracked all the way from the mine down to the polish, then the information about that diamond and its traceability and its journey through the pipeline exists. So in the secondary market, that information could accompany the polished diamond, but we cannot create the information if it did not start earlier in the pipeline. So for diamonds that are already existing in the market, whether in the stores or whether with the consumer, it is not possible to recreate the traceability, and it can only be done for new diamonds going forward from this point onwards.
Okay, thank you very much. And also, a final question, I guess the audience want to know about cost and turnaround time. So it is general talking. So Mr. Hara,
Yes.
can you answer the cost and TAT?
Okay, about the cost, to be honest, I'm a bit hesitant to say because it's depend on which channel you buy you receive this traceability certificate, because Sarine system, like Tokyo Park, we have the policy that we provide, we offer this Sarine service with almost the cost of us, because our company is just interested in to sell diamonds. So if Sarine system help yourself, then you sell more diamond and you get more order for us, then we can sell to you the more diamond, then we'll be happy. So we don't try to take any profit from the from the service. But maybe if you try to buy from the other channel, maybe your supplier might have the different policy. Maybe they try to have profit from the service, but like strategy, it's depending on which channel you buy diamond with the certificate. So in order not to disturb somebody business, about cost, you should check and you should compare, from which channel you buy this diamond with this certificate. About the term, we have the experience that let's say 2 months. Let's say the 10 weeks to the 3 months we need to supply, because after all, it starts from the diamond polish, and especially in Japan, when we receive the order, the order like from this size to this color and this quality, so we start to collect from rough. So usually it takes time. However, if in the future, such kind of the traceable diamond becoming the already standard, like everyone going to carry this kind of diamond, then probably manufacturer already starts for the every diamond they will be ready for this traceability system. Then the term of the delivery should be shorter.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe okay. So unfortunately, the time is almost up. So would anyone like to add anything else?
Yeah, I see there are actually quite a lot of questions that we most likely won't have time to answer. So I've put in the chat both my email as well as Mr. Eddie Liss, who speaks Japanese. So we'll be able to help you with any questions that we haven't answered. Feel free to send me anything you'd like to ask, and we'll get back to you with answers. Thank you very much for joining us today. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. And yes, today we've had a productive meeting today, and I am grateful to you all for attending. Thank you very much for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was really a pleasure.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
everyone.
day or evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
どうもありがとうございました。お疲れ様でした。
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。またよろしくお願いします。
お願いし
Thank
ま
you
す。
very
は
much.
い
Thank you, David. It was a pleasure.
Thanks. Good seeing you, Florence. Bye-bye. By the way, I
Bye-bye.
might be in Paris next month. If I am, I'll update you.
We're waiting for you.
Okay, great. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
バイバイ。
はい、ありがとうございました。See you. Shalom.
Bye-bye. Shalom.